Thank you for staying with us. It's still Journalist Hangout on Sunday. Mixed reactions continue to trail the decision of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, to lift the forex restrictions on 43 items. Beg your pardon? Local manufacturers and farmers have expressed fears that the decision by the CBN is capable of sending many of them out of business. In the face of this, the free fall of the naira against the dollars continues unabated. Jide, it's becoming alarming. That fall, it's becoming alarming. When it was still hovering between 980, 920 for some days, you know, we're praying that it should not get to 1,000 naira. Immediately, it hit the scale of 1,000 naira, and we're finding ourselves in the 1,100, 1,120. I'm afraid, Jide.
Yeah, because we are an import-dependent nation, and this decision was triggered by the need to divert people, because despite the fact that those items were restricted from access to forex through official channels, people were still going to the black market to source for dollars to bring them into the country. So you can imagine if people would spend trillions to bring in items that were not listed among those that you can source for dollars to bring them in through the official window. Their own thinking was, if we did this, then those people who used to go to the black market to spend more than, in between 2016 and 2023, they spent more than 15 trillion to import those items that were prohibited. So their feeling was it would take the pressure off the black market. More people will come into the I&E window to trade. But we have not begun to see the impact yet. Maybe that aim will still be achieved. And when it is achieved, of course, the parity that the CBN wants to see between the I&E window and the black market may be achieved, because at this time, the difference is a little over 18%. The difference between the margin between the I&E window and the black market is 18%, a little over 18%, whereas the globally accepted margin is 5%. Because if people continue to see, if this margin continues to grow, then diaspora remittances, a good number of the diaspora remittances would not come in through the official channels, because they will see the official channel as artificial. They will see the black market as the real deal. So the CBN wants sanity in the forex market, and they want more and more people to trade in the I&E window. It's one of the reasons they took this decision. But at the end of the day, when you look at the impact that it should have, because when I read about this decision, I was worried myself that where do you place the farmers? What will be the fate of farmers, for example, who for so long have been able to improve their yields, largely because of some level of protection against imported rice. Government banned importation of rice through the land borders. But if people can now bring in rice as much as they want, if they can bring in some of those items that were previously banned, it means that the local producers here will struggle. Because whether we like it or not, Nigerians have this hunger for things foreign, whether it is from Ghana or from Cote d'Ivoire. So there are Nigerians who prefer to buy Cote d'Ivoire, Ankara. They will not want to buy the ones made here. Give me Akosombo, give me this, give me that. Once it is foreign, our people tend to prefer it. So what will be the fate of those manufacturers, knowing that people can bring in this thing as much as they want now? That is the concern. And I'm not surprised that these people are still grumbling, because it's a natural thing. Nigerians may not patronize them like before, since those foreigners, every country embarks on some level of protectionism. You can't just leave your door wide open for all kinds of things to be coming in. There has to be some restrictions meant to protect domestic domestic production, domestic industries. So we need to do a lot of that, whether we like it or not. I agree with Olusegun Aganga, who said, see, rather than throw money at this forex thing, forex market, with a view to saving the naira, why don't we focus on empowering strategic industries, businesses that can help Nigeria to earn foreign exchange? He looked at what we have spent on Anchor Borrowers Program, for example, and we didn't really achieve anything, because if Anchor Borrowers had been such a good program, the price of rice shouldn't be this high.
Honestly.
Whatever government invests that much money on, if it cannot drive down prices, it's a thorough waste of time.
It's something thousand per bag now.
It's a thorough waste of time.
52.
And we spend all that money. We try to bring down the price of, what's it called? We stimulate production of cassava, stimulate production of rice. Yet the prices are going up. That means something is fundamentally wrong. It means that perhaps a good chunk of that money was diverted. I know for a fact that there are people who set up fake cooperatives for the purpose of accessing that money, pretending to be the farmers.
And they never return.
So this is the thing. I think we need to look, as long as our hunger for things foreign continues, as long as we are so heavily dependent on imports, I don't know how the naira can stay strong. So now, that is already projected that by 2024, South Africa will overtake Nigeria as Africa's biggest economy. I know that is a possibility. And South Africa, their currency is much stronger. They produce a lot more, whether it's wines or anything. Their farmers, South Africa farmers, are millionaires. So what are we doing? If we can't produce for export, how can the naira be strong?
Wale, it seems this government particularly, it seems that they've not really settled down to get a grasp of this problem. Because if from 700 naira, we can find ourselves in this over 1,000 naira, it's not easy. Foreign exchange, after some time now, to travel abroad now, it's over 2 million naira. If you're just going to the United States, you spend over 2 million naira in terms of return ticket.
There are certain things that we
economy class.
We just need to admit that this year, Nigeria entered into a chaotic economic mess. And then it was like a car that has no engine, no tires. So the new administrators coming in, and we are not talking of the president alone, we are talking of the 36 state governors. Because these policies affect all of them, whether you are Labour Party, whether you are, they can't come out with any program that will be like a miracle. It's just not possible. Because we are as at May, Nigeria was in a terrible state of economic affairs. If you look at the naira swap, then the politicization of the CBN, beginning from this year, the anchor borrowers and all sort of things, it messed up the economy to a very large extent. President Buhari banned these items on, I think, June 23, 2015. So we are talking of 8 years after. let us assess in terms of what are the gains. If you look at the primary motive of the banning of those items, to protect local industries, are those local industries protected? To manage scarce forests, to ban those items, are people still not bringing those items into Nigeria? To reduce pressure on dollar, there's still pressure on dollars. People are still struggling to get foreign exchange. So the situation that we found ourselves, it was chaotic. And personally, we said it on this forum, that even if we had our forefathers, maybe Awolowo, there is no miracle that I was expecting as a human being in the next 12 months or more. Because things were just down. So for me, I think after 8 years, if you review this ban, we have not made much gain. So there is a need to look at whether that policy was useful to us or not. And for me, I think what they are trying to look at is that if they bring in these items, it will temporarily reduce the prices of those items brought in. For instance, if you flood the market with cement, it's most likely to reduce the prices of cement from 5,300 naira, or oil. But I hope it's going to be a temporary measure to address immediate problem, so that prices of goods, more so that we are moving towards December, will come down. But at the same time, we need to define a kind of framework, a work plan. When they came out with this program 8 years ago, there was no plan that, okay, after 15 years, 8 years, these are the things, the gains were expected to. You can't read any CBN document that will give you an analysis of what we have gained, what we have lost. So I believe that the current policy is just a temporary measure. And if we are looking at what happens in the next 3 months, it's supposed to bring down items, the prices of essential items, oil, granite oil, those essentials of life that are going to be brought from abroad. But I don't think it should be a permanent measure. Maybe we should be looking about the next 1 year, after which we may reverse back to banning some of these items, provided we can produce them at home. India and China did the same thing, but there was a framework, not just to ban those items and then you don't have an alternative measure to provide those items for people when they're in desperate need for them. So I think that it should be a temporary measure, but I don't think it's really a bad mechanism for now. If it's a kind of ad hoc measure to get out of skyrocketing.
The whole idea was to save the foreign exchange for other things. President Buhari felt that, look, Nigeria could grow its own rice and feed its own people. And Nigeria was clearly one of the world's largest importers of rice, something that we can grow. In fact, 2 or 3 states can grow enough rice to feed our country. So he felt, oh, look, I will no longer make foreign exchange available for the importation of rice. That was what. So if you want to import, go and source it by yourself. But from the official source, you didn't want to do that.
For the local...
And a good number of integrated rice farms sprung up as a result. But like everything Nigerian, the policy, even the coming of new integrated rice mills have not brought down the price of rice, which is the concern. So people trying to show up liquidity in terms of the dollar is something that has to be done with far more focus than we are doing. If we continue to improve production in the oil sector, we have a quota that we could not meet. If, for example, we can consistently do like 2.2 million barrels a day, I think we are going to be able to earn more foreign exchange. Because there was a time that we were even doing just about 500 as a result of the activities of militants and all that, and even oil thieves. If we can produce a lot more, because they pushed us to number 3 in Africa, behind even Libya. Angola became number 1, Libya second, Nigeria third And we, for so long, we've been Africa's #1 producer. So if we can improve production in the oil sector, improve our oil production, that will also help us to earn more dollars. But foreign portfolio investment is also useful. The president has gone out trying to bring those people in, but those won't come immediately. That is my worry. My worry is, will this forex problem not get so bad before we start seeing improvement? Not get too bad before we start seeing improvement? Because somebody projected in their, one company, their budget for next year, they actually projected an exchange rate of 2,000 naira to $1. I said, may God not let it happen. Even the BDCs themselves are worried now. They are saying they want to help the CBN, that they don't want this thing to cross, to go beyond 1,000. So we don't know, but what they want is for the CBN to allow them to also buy forex through the official window. You know that Emefiele chased them away. So maybe if they allow them, maybe that will help. But it's because of the round tripping and some of the evil things that they were doing that actually caused them to be removed. But the people who have access to it, the banks, are they not doing the same thing? Do you not go to banks and they will tell you, okay, go and meet that Aboki there for your forex transaction? So we are in a very big mess, but I just hope that somehow the president will pull a rabbit out of his hat and deal with this problem. And then, of course, the backlog. If we can clear the backlog, because the finance minister said they had backlog of this thing for indebtedness that they need to clear.
All right.
So if we can do that, hopefully the naira can stay strong. Because